Today I am talking about gratitude, what it is, how we do it, where the concept arose from, and why for many of us it is actually a really hard thing to do naturally and truthfully. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to the Live Mindfully podcast. I am Laurie Moore and it's so great to have you here. I am currently sitting in my yoga / meditation / wellness / alone space. And it is such a beautiful little room filled to the brim of all the things I love. So on my desk, I have one open rose, which is yellow, and the fringes are this deep orange, red color. And on the other side of my desk, I have this little figurine my mother bought me, and it's the angel of learning. And essentially, it's this little woman holding a book. And from memory, my mum gave me this little woman when I was studying my Bachelor of Business. Because I love to read and learn, and she is a symbol of that. And then I also have my water bottle with my favorite bird, the kookaburra, on it. And I love the kookaburra mainly because it's an Australian bird that laughs. And for some strange reason, that always makes me laugh. So you may be wondering why I am cataloging my desk items for you. And the reason is that these are some things I am grateful for. These are things that make me happy. They bring a joy when I look at them and when I think about them. And they also tell me important information about who I am. So today we're talking about gratefulness. And I've titled this podcast, Be Grateful, They Said. It'll be easy, they said. And the reason I have done this is because for some of us being grateful, it's actually an intuitively easy process. For some of us, we can rattle off a list of things we are grateful for at the drop of a hat. However, for most of us, myself included, being grateful isn't simple and it isn't easy. It may not be hard work. I find being grateful hard work, which may surprise some people. I find it quite hard to be grateful. It's a real definite practice for me, and it's something I really need to think about. But I am a naturally positive person. But these are not the same things. Gratitude and positivity are not the same. Gratitude is, according to Sanson and Sanson 2010, and the link is in the show notes, gratitude is the act of recognizing and acknowledging the good things that happen, resulting in a state of appreciation. Positivity is the practice of being or tendency to be positive or optimistic in attitude. So gratitude is recognizing and acknowledging the good things in our life and is classified as an emotion, while positivity is a disposition in your attitude. It's a way of being. So a positive person tends to have more positive emotions and engage in more positive behavior organically and naturally. It tends to be their default state. However, and for today's episode, we're not going to get into this too deeply, but it's important here to note that positive people also know how to feel, process, and manage hard emotions. So being a positive person doesn't mean that you bypass the tough emotions just to remain in your positive state. But I digress. So gratitude was first expressed in 1560 and comes from the medieval Latin word gratitudinem. And I probably just butchered that, so we'll just move on. And it also comes from the Latin word gratis, or gratis, I should say, meaning thankful or pleasing. So the word has been around for a really long time, 1560. That's a long time ago. And it has been used quite possibly, according to some research, since our primitive days. So that's really interesting as well. However, saying thank you and developing a gratitude practice are, again, they're different things. So I did some research, and best I could find was a lot of studies as early as 2003 where psychologists really began to test how the affect of gratitude changed a person's outlook on life. So I think it's safe to say that a lot of us would have a very good practice of saying thank you to someone or receiving a thank you from someone in reference to something we have given or done or received in return. But the question here is, do you have a practice of recognizing the good in your life? Because that's what I'm really talking about here. Do you have a practice in your life where you reflect on the day or the week and look at all of the examples of goodness in your life? Because this practice is really powerful and it's not as easy as it sounds. So to demonstrate that, I want to tell you a little story. When I was 23, I returned home from a 6-month working holiday in the UK. And 4 months before I returned home, I had received the news that someone I knew and was very close to had lost their life to suicide. And 1 week after arriving home, so this was in January, and moving in with my boyfriend in this gorgeous apartment in Cronulla, I found out that he had cheated on me multiple times over the course of our 18-month relationship. And that was hard. I was in love, which was the whole reason I was returning from the UK, because he didn't come across with me to begin with. So we were doing this long distance relationship, and the pressure of that was starting to hurt our relationship. Now, had I known, how much fun he was having in my absence, I would never obviously had bothered returning, particularly given that this kind of behaviour from him was happening before I'd even left Australia, but such is life. But very quickly, in a very short succession of time, my life unravelled. And overnight, I had to move out and find somewhere else to live. And because I had only just returned back to Australia, I didn't have a job yet. I'd only been back a week when I found all of this out. And what really, I think, hurt my spirit a lot back then was that I left a job I loved in the UK to come home. And because I was in the depths of all of these changes at the tender age of 23, I decided it was in my best interests to see a psychologist. And I had never seen one before, but a family member suggested that it might be a good idea. And I agreed. And given I was grieving now not only the loss of someone close to me by death, which was one of the reasons why the family member had suggested it in the first place, but I was also now grieving the loss of a really important relationship and a lot of other things as well that came along with the loss of that relationship. And so that happened in 2006. And the very first thing my psychologist said to me was, do you have a gratitude practice? Which, of course, I didn't. I mean, based on the research I've done today, most of the studies completed by psychologists were done in 2003. So 3 years later, I don't know that it was all that common for people to have a gratitude practice. So I was tasked with finding 3 things a day to be grateful for. And my psychologist explained that it could be anything I wanted. It could be the sun shining, getting a green light, the air in my lungs, to much bigger and more obvious things like having great friends, being thankful and grateful, say, to my parents, or landing a new job, which by the time I saw this psychologist had happened. But the clincher was that I had to feel grateful. So it couldn't just be a rote activity. I couldn't just write out a list. I had to be able to describe the feeling of gratitude in my body when I put something down on the list. So simple maths tells us that over the course of 2 weeks, 14 days, 3 things a day, I should have had a list of 42 things. I only needed 3 things a day, 3. By the end of the 2 weeks, I had 10. And to be honest, half of those were just stuff I put on the list. They weren't legit. And I was doing my best, to be honest, but my nature of wanting to do everything right and perfect was making me feel really disappointed with my crappy little list of 10. And the good thing about having a perfectionistic nature is that I really bunkered down and learned a lot about gratitude and the practice of gratitude because I wanted to be good at it. Which helped immensely. Obviously, that helped my mental health a lot. And now I do my best every single day to cultivate this practice of gratitude. And, it's my husband, he's just such an amazing person. God bless him. He even started introducing this practice to our children. So I wasn't the person who introduced, even though I'd been doing this practice for, 17 years. I wasn't the one who actually started cultivating that practice with my children because it isn't something we learn. And so every night, at the very end of every night, we ask our kids 3 questions. And the first question we ask them is, what happened today that made you feel good? Did anything happen today that made you feel sad or upset or angry? And the last question is, what are you grateful for today? And, the issue with the gratitude practice is you can't run through it like a road activity. I said that before. It won't bring you the benefits. And the benefits are amazing. The benefits include things like an increase in positive emotions, better health, stronger relationships, and the ability to better deal with adversity. If your gratitude practice is just you rattling off a quick list, then you're not going to receive those benefits. In order to do this properly, you must take a moment to truly feel the warmth of gratitude in your body. You must take a moment to relive the experience or the thing that you are reflecting on and why it makes you feel grateful. Prayer and saying grace and other activities not tied to religion or spirit, but that cultivate this feeling of gratitude, they lose their effect if we do them out of obligation or because it's now being viewed as a chore, we have to do it. And it's because of this reason that a genuine gratitude practice isn't easy, but I can assure you it's worth it. So my advice as someone who has engaged now in a gratitude practice for 17 years, that blows my mind, is to make just a little bit of time each day to do this. And I am a big believer in stacking the good things. So don't feel like this needs to be another thing you add to your to-do list or to your capture list. Sometimes I do this practice while I'm journaling. Sometimes I do this when I am walking or when I am in the shower. Sometimes I do this as part of my relaxation and wind down as I hop into bed. And I take a moment to really feel and think of the things that I am truly grateful for. You may want to incorporate this practice into your daily commute home, or while you are walking the dog, or even when you are making the kids dinner. Oprah has had a gratitude practice for the last 40 years, and she does it through her gratitude journal. She has a journal dedicated just to this practice. And you are certainly welcome to formalize the practice if you would like. You can even make a whole ceremony out of it. You could light some candles at the end of each day and play some gentle low music and sit in meditation. it's up to you. The key is to really think about the things that you are grateful for each day. And I try and mix it up. So I'm not grateful for the exact same things every day. And it really can be anything. Maybe it's the blossoming of your favorite flower, to the water bottle sitting on your desk with a kookaburra on it, to the free coffee you just landed from a friend, to the clothes on your back, and literally everything in between. The best part about having a gratitude practice is if you are experiencing life from a place of lack, this will help to turn it around. Because with a gratitude practice, you start to realize truly and profoundly that what little you might be perceiving yourself as having, it's not actually true. You have so much more working in your favor, and that realization, that makes you feel better, and that makes you start looking for more things in your life that are abundant. I was able to crawl my way back from a broken heart, the loss of someone dear to me, not having a job, having to move, leaving a country that I loved, all in the space of about 5 months. And it wasn't easy. But man, I have a lot to be thankful for, thanks to the gratitude practice. Thanks to the practice of gratitude, and even today, I can still easily get caught up in lack. Even after all of these years, even after knowing how much I have to be thankful to for the gratitude practice, I can easily get caught up in lack. That is so easy. The messages are everywhere. But gratitude, everyone in social science praises it. It is a profound practice. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great week, and if you start a gratitude practice or you've been doing one for a while and this episode has resonated with you, I would love to hear from you. You can find me on my socials at @lifewithlori_ for Instagram, or Live Mindfully with Lori Moore on Facebook. Until next time, take good care of yourself.